A team in search of perfection. It has the strong-arm quarterback. The versatile running back. The aggressive defense. And a head coach who has people believing this team may just be welcome to Synergy Field in Cincinnati, where the Denver Broncos hope to continue along that road to perfection as they take on the Cincinnati Bengals. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Cincinnati. Along with Phil Simms, I'm Greg Gumbel. You know, these Denver Broncos, they have all of the names. They have John Elway, they have Shannon Sharp, but in running back Terrell Davis, we just may be looking at a guy that, when all is said and done, Phil, is one of the great ones of all time.
Well, Greg, if you ask me, I think Terrell Davis right now is the best player in the National Football League. For the Bengals to have any chance, they got to stop him. But in the last 3 years, I've only seen one team get close to stopping Terrell Davis.
Well, the Cincinnati Bengals have come off 2 terrible losses. The press, the fans have been all over them. The question is, how do they come out and compete with the Broncos today?
Well, on offense, the Bengals, we know Neil O'Donnell's having a terrific year, but Corey Dillon, he's the guy that has to step up, run the football, have a lot of success. You got to stay on the field, because what you want to do is somehow keep that Denver offense off the field so you have a chance.
When these two teams met a year ago, it was a 1-point game into the fourth quarter before the Broncos won it by 18. We'll take a timeout and come back for the opening kickoff from Cincinnati as the NFL on CBS continues right after this. Back in Cincinnati, there you look at Jason Elam. He of the 63-yard field goal 1 week ago today. He will kick off. The Bengals have won the toss and have elected to receive and hope to get off to the good start. It's one way of competing with the Denver Broncos. And the ball is falling off the tee. Tremaine Mack is deep for the Bengals. It's a full house here in Cincinnati. One of the things the Bengals and their fans look forward to is a new stadium in the not-so-distant future.
Well, and I think they're all looking forward to seeing the Denver Broncos today, Super Bowl champions, and that's one of the reasons, unfortunately, why there is a sellout.
Elam's kick. Mack at the goal line. He hits hard at the 20 and comes down short of the 25-yard line. Tito Paul with the tackle, and Neil O'Donnell, the quarterback for the Cincinnati Bengals. And here's the offense that he will bring onto the field with him in his 9th year out of the University of Maryland for the Bengals. Up front, Sargent, Graham, Brill, Blackman, and Willie Anderson. In the backfield with O'Donnell, Corey Dillon and Brian Milne, Pickens and James Hunden, who starts with Arnie Scott at wide receiver. Tony McGee is the tight end. First down from the 22. This is Dillon. Dillon with running room on the right side across the 30 and first down yardage. Pickup of 12 on the play. Here is the defense the Denver Broncos put on the field, and it is a good one. Up front, Neil Smith, Traylor, Price, and Ma'a Tanubasa. The linebackers, all quick and aggressive, Mobley, Kadrez, and Romanowski. And in the secondary, the corners, Crockett and Gordon, Eric Brown, the rookie, Steve Atwater, the veteran at safety. First down from the 34. O'Donnell throws to the far side, has his man complete across the 40, out to about the 43, and that's James Hunden with the reception.
Today, the Cincinnati offense today, Greg, what they want to do, I mean, it was kind of interesting talking to some of the players the other day. Neil O'Donnell, first time I've ever heard a quarterback say, we need to run the ball on first and second down so we can keep those third downs short, keep the Denver offense off the field, because the Bengals have had a hard time picking up third down situations.
2 tight ends on 2nd and 1 for the Bengals. This is Dillon. Dillon pulls across the 45 for another first down for the Bengals.
And just to start this game, the one thing that you got to be happy about if you're a Cincinnati Bengal fan, the offensive line looks like the first couple plays, they match up well against the Denver defensive line, have actually pushed them backwards on the 2 running play.
You know, you mentioned Neil O'Donnell wanting to run the ball more on first and second. This is a man who leads the National Football League in completion percentage.
But see, he wants to win more than anything, and he knows to win this football game, they've got to run it very well.
O'Donnell the pitch, and here comes a reverse. Coming this way is Damon Gibson, midfield, 45-yard line. John Mobley with the stop on Damon Gibson, the rookie out of Iowa.
Well, I love the reverse play sometimes, no matter what. Even if it doesn't gain any yards, I like it. Because what it does, it stops the defense early in the game. That's why the Bengals run it. It stops this fast defense of the Denver Broncos from over-pursuing.
Neil O'Donnell out there with a lead block.
Hey, again, you know, sometimes you just got to do it all. You got to do the blocking and the throwing.
2nd and 1. Dillon, he won't get it on this one. May have lost a yard, and Neil Smith in on the tackle. This is a 3rd down situation, the first of the day for the Broncos, and they didn't do very well in this department last week.
Well, that's what we've talked about already. That's why they want to run the ball so well. Keep these 3rd down situations short. We have a 3rd and 2. Last week, the Bengals were 0 for 10. Hard to score points when you can't pick up 3rd downs.
This is a 3rd and 2. O'Donnell will throw for it. Down the sideline, wide open, complete. 15 out of bounds inside the 10-yard line is Damon Gibson. What a nice yard.
I'm sorry, Craig. What a nice call. What an adjustment by the Cincinnati Bengals. Darian Gordon, he knows it's 3rd and short. He's looking for the short route. He takes a chance and lets James Hunden get behind him for the nice catch. Perfect throw by Neil O'Donnell. But again, 3rd and 2. The Denver Broncos looking for the short pass, trying to pick up the 1st down. They outguess him.
1st and goal from the 8. The pitch for Dillon. Kicks the left side and is run out of bounds by Darian Gordon. In every one of its games this season, the Denver Broncos have scored first. And as you see there, they have outscored their opponents 34-0 on opening drive. The Bengals trying to put a stop to all that.
Well, we talk so much, as many times as we do Bronco games, we hear about their first 15 plays. The Bengals also do a good job scripting offensive plays and trying to get the defense off guard.
O'Donnell, plenty of time, and throws, and it's batted at the line of scrimmage and falls incomplete. That may have been Neil Smith with a hand up to put the block on the pass by O'Donnell.
Well, Neil O'Donnell would have had time. Carl Pickens had worked himself free in the back of the end zone. Nobody could stay with him, but that's what happens. That's why you need a pass rush to take away some of those mistakes you make every once in a while in the secondary.
Marco Battaglia comes into the lineup as a 2nd tight end now on 3rd and goal from the 8. Quick pass, far side, incomplete, intended for Battaglia, and it'll be 4th down, and the field goal unit comes onto the field.
Well, that's one of the things that has gotten a lot of people upset in Cincinnati is the fact, here's the situation. 3rd and goal from about the 8 or 9 yard line. Now, as a quarterback, you can afford to take a sack down in this area. You've got to look for a receiver in the end zone, give your team a chance, especially against the Broncos, to score 7 points.
Doug Pelfrey, 6 of 9 on field goals this season. We'll try this one from 25 yards out, and it's good. So a field length drive by the Bengals results in a field goal and a 3-0 Cincinnati lead. Welcome back to Cincinnati, where Doug Pelfrey's 25-yard field goal has put the Broncos in a 3-0 hole, and we see that in more than 423 minutes of play this season, the Broncos had trailed for less than 4.5 minutes.
See, they haven't had to deal with adversity enough. You got to have adversity in this game. It's got to be hard. You got to struggle.
That's how you get the blues.
No, that's how you
live the bad life.
That's how you appreciate winning, boy.
Vaughn Everett. The Broncos from the 1. 20. And just across the 25-yard line. A.J. Adrian Ross made the tackle for Denver, and when we come back, John Elway and the Denver Broncos will go on offense. As we welcome you back to Cincinnati, happy Halloween.
Same to you, Greg. Happy Halloween.
Yeah, thanks a lot. John Elway in his 16th season out of Stanford. 7 touchdown passes, 2 picks so far this season. First down from the 26-yard line, and Elway going to throw. All kinds of time. Runs, flips to Terrell Davis, and it's incomplete. Let's take a look at the Denver offense that Elway brings with him onto the field. First of all, a very mobile and terrific offensive line. Jones, Schlereth, Nalen, Neal, and Harry Swain. In the backfield with him, Terrell Davis, Detron Smith in place of injured Howard Griffith, Rod Smith and Ed McCaffrey, the wideouts, Shannon Sharp, the tight end. And now double tight end set up on 2nd and 10 as Dwayne Carswell comes into the lineup. Elway, deep drop, far side, complete. Shannon Sharp across the 40, out to about the 42-yard line. 16-yard pickup and a first down for the Broncos. Here's a look at the Bengals defense. They played the 3-4 up front, Bankston, Kimo von Oelhoffen, and the veteran Clyde Simmons. Linebackers are geared by the 2 rookies on the inside, Brian Simmons and Takeo Spikes, and in the secondary, Ambrose and Hawkins, the rookie, on the corner, Shade and Greg Myers are the safety.
When you see receivers get so wide open down the field when the Broncos are on offense, it truly is a direct result of Terrell Davis. They're worried about the run. They're trying to stop it. Receivers run by the linebacker.
Here's Davis for his first carry of the day. Breaks tackles and gets up to midfield.
There's Ray Horton. He's looking at the Denver sideline to see who they send in an offense. And he needs to know immediately. He gives that information to the defensive coordinator, Dick LeBeau, who now takes that information and decides what defense to call. A lot of quick thinking has to go on right there. The Denver Broncos probably exchange more people every play than anybody in the National Football League. Every play, it's a different formation with different personnel.
2nd and 3 from midfield. Davis pulled down in the backfield by Greg Myers, number 31.
Well, these are some of the things the Bengals, what they have to do to stop the running game of the Denver Broncos. The Broncos love the outside pitch, so bring the safety. Greg Myers, look what he does. Reacts so quick, it doesn't allow the wide receiver, Rod Smith, to get up there and make the block. And to stop this running game today, the up-front people of the Bengals, not that strong really against the run. The linebackers got to be active, and both safeties got to be up there to help out that defensive line.
4 wide receivers on 3rd and 5. Over the middle, incomplete, intended for McCaffrey. Thomas Randolph making the defensive stop, and the Broncos will have to kick it away.
Thomas Randolph came from the Giants, the nickel defensive back. Good job. They're doubling in McCaffrey. They give him a little pressure off the line of scrimmage. Gets that left hand in front of the receiver. Good job. Good technique. Stop the Broncos' first drive.
The leading punter in the National Football League, Tom Ruin, will get it away from about his own 35. Damon Gibson is deep for the Bengals. High floater that Gibson will let go and bounces on the goal line. And did it stay out of the end zone? It's a touchback. Went into the end zone, and it'll put it on play from the 20-yard line when we come back. 52-yard punt for Ruin. 3-0 Bengals. Back at Synergy Field in Cincinnati, first down for the Bengals from their own 20-yard line as they take possession for the 2nd time today. O'Donnell to throw. Mills drops it out of the backfield. That's incomplete. Let's check in with our man on the sidelines, Armin Katayan. Armin.
You know, Greg, Bruce Costle had a very direct message to his team this week after 2 embarrassing losses. He asked them, do we want to fold or do we want to fight? Do we want to continue to be the doormats in this league, at the bottom of this league, or do we want to do something about it? One stat in their favor. Under Costle, the Bengals are 12-4 at home. Back to you.
All right, Armin.
Greg, I like what Bruce Costle said. Hey, we just got to line up
and play. by Darian Gordon, but not before he picked up 7 on the play.
Well, Bruce Costa said, we just got to line up and smack somebody in the mouth. And look here, the Denver Broncos, you run the football on them a few times, they'll just put more people up on the line of scrimmage. They're going to somehow outnumber you up there and make you throw the football if you want to beat them. But there, a good job of Corey Dillon getting outside, good blocking by the tight end. Another good pickup in the running game for the Bengals.
3rd and 2. O'Donnell to throw. Right side, in and out of the hands. Intended receiver, James Hunden. And they will have to kick.
You know, timing is everything in the passing game. Watch Neil O'Donnell. He drops 3-step drop, he turns, and he just fires it. Now remember, the receiver came across the formation. James Hunden does not have time to react to catch the ball. He's wide open. Would have been a big first down.
Remember, too, Hunden is the starter today in place of Darnay Scott, who can't go because of a strained Achilles tendon. Darian Gordon deep. Near side, tries to break up the middle, and not much running room there. Gets out to about the 33-yard line. 48-yard punt, 11-yard return, and the clock is stopped with 7:48 to play here in the first quarter.
More now or pay a lot later.
Back in Cincinnati, the Broncos take over first down, the ball at their own 33-yard line. The Bengals with a 3-0 lead. Inside and squirms across the 35 out to about the 38-yard line, a pickup of 5 on the play. While we were away during a timeout, take a look at what was happening down on the sideline.
That's Al Roberts, the special teams coach. He's talking to James Hunden. Words were exchanged. Neil O'Donnell comes over, breaks it up. But see, that's a good sign. You know, you've lost the last couple games. Everybody's great about your football team. Hey, you should be testing. You know, you can't be happy about what's going on. Let's be angry, play mad. It usually helps you.
2nd and 5. Davis again. Davis first down yardage, breaks it free across midfield and across the 45 to about the 43-yard line. Sam Shade making the tackle. It's a 20-yard pickup for Terrell Davis.
Well, this says it all about the Denver Broncos. Watch the offensive line of the Broncos. Just look at any of them. Watch when they hit the defensive players. The defensive players can't get away from them. They can't get rid of the thing. And then Terrell Davis, he always finds the hole. Look at this. Going left, he's thinking outside. He says, oh, look at that big hole. Then makes a nice cutback, picks up the extra yardage.
One thing we hear from guys playing against the Broncos, also offensive linemen continue to engage you all the way down the field. Elway to throw. With time, far side, incomplete. Rod Smith is intended receiver.
Well, that's what they say. They engage almost every single team we talk to. What do they say? Oh, this Bronco offensive line, it's good, but they hold. I mean, okay. I mean, that's the universal thing. You know what? They get it done. I don't see the yellow flags on the field, and you just got to find a way to break away from them somehow, get their hands off of your chest, and make the tackle.
Those 8 sacks, they haven't all been John Elway either. Remember, he missed time because of a sore hamstring. Elway, incidentally, just 1 of 4 today for 17 yards. 2nd and 10. Deep drop from Elway. Throws near side, complete to Smith out of the backfield. Smith still on his feet, breaking away from no less than 4 Bengals before he's brought down. That's a 7-yard pickup.
Well, just another formation, another look for the Denver Broncos. This time, they take the fullback out of the backfield. They put him in motion. Nobody from the Bengals coverage. Look how wide open he is. Then they react to the pass. The defense come up and try to make the tackle. And, of course, Detron Smith is in there today because Howard Griffith, his hamstring was a little tight. Mike Shanahan told us yesterday, hey, this guy's a good, solid backup. It shouldn't hurt our offense.
3rd and 3. Elway going to throw for it. Over the middle, has a man wide open. It's McCaffrey. McCaffrey inside the 20 and knocked out of bounds at about the 18-yard line. 14-yard pickup and a Denver first down.
Well, watch what happens. John Elway, 16 years. I mean, you cover his first receiver. He doesn't get nervous. Look here. Here's the number 1 receiver. And then watch Ed McCaffrey come across. the Bengals defense reacts. The first guy, he doesn't like him. Look at Ed McCaffrey down the field, wide open. That's an experienced quarterback who doesn't panic under pressure. When the first guy is covered, finds the open receiver down the field.
First down from the 18-yard line. Look at what the Broncos do in the red zone to give it to Davis. And Davis picks his way to about the 15. Takeo Spikes with the stop for the Bengals.
You know, Greg, we had a chance watching some film on the Bengals. The one thing you've got to say, they have really struggled on defense. But you can tell by watching it, these linebackers, Takeo Spikes, Brian Simmons, they're young, they're fast, they're aggressive. They like to play football. And when the defensive line gets a little better and protects those guys, they are going to be big playmakers.
2nd and 7. McCaffrey in motion. A deep drop for Elway, plenty of time. Over the middle, has a man and missed it. McCaffrey, who was in motion, came back across the middle, and Elway missed connections in the end zone.
Well, you know, we talk so much about all the things the Broncos do. Just another thing. You know, a look, Elway looks to the right. McCaffrey went in motion across the left. They made the defense switch. And what's it do? It creates a wide open hole in the middle of the field for Ed McCaffrey. John Elway doesn't make a good throw.
And now the Broncos call time. And Elway walks to the sideline.
You know, that
4:29 to play in the first quarter, and Elway and the Broncos are going to talk about it on 3rd and 7.
Well, what makes it so hard for the Bengals defense? They're young, and then you're a young defense, and now you're playing an offense that does so many things, the adjustments, and we've already seen a couple blown assignments by the Bengals defense, and it's midway in the first quarter.
I want to remind you, tomorrow on CBS, kick off a night of comedy with Cosby. Then, if you found out the engagement ring you gave your wife was worth a fortune, would you sell it for a hot tub and a satellite dish? That's the question for the King of Queens. Followed by Monday night's #1 comedy, Everybody Loves Raymond. Then it's Ted Danson as you've never seen him before. He's an outspoken, not so politically correct doctor in the premiere of Becker. Followed by LA Doctors, and that's all Monday here on CBS. Broncos huddle up on 3rd and 7 from the 15. 8th play of this drive and a big defensive play here for the Bengals. And the fans come to their feet. Elway forced out of the pocket, throws, complete to Davis. Inside the 10-yard line, no, incomplete. And the field goal unit will come on.
Hard to take advantage of opportunities down the field for the quarterback. John Elway, when the defensive line of the Bengals, they're getting some pressure up the middle. They make him scramble out. And when you do that to a quarterback, it cuts your decision-making down in half. Now you can only look at receivers on the right side of the football field.
Jason Elam to attempt a field goal that's 30 yards closer than the one he nailed last week against Jacksonville. From 33 yards out. And it's good, as well it should be. 4:17 to play, first quarter. Denver and Cincinnati are tied at 3. While the Broncos talk about it on the sideline, we have 4 minutes and change to be played here in the first quarter.
You know, I never like those pictures on the sideline because you go look at the sun, you go, wow, I'm making a lot of mistakes. I didn't see that.
Elam kicks. Gibson, it's Tremaine Mack rather, at the 5, and makes it out just across the 20-yard line. And Neil O'Donnell comes back onto the field for the Bengals, who are 2-5 on this season.
You know, Neil O'Donnell is really, statistically, has had a terrific start to the season, and I was curious to hear the reaction. Kenny Anderson, the offensive coordinator, Bruce Coslin, the head coach, they think he's doing a terrific job. He's making good decisions, throwing the ball well. He's mastering the offense, but they say he still doesn't know him well enough to take advantage of it as much as he should.
Corey Dillon for a couple. Harold Hasselbeck, Tyrone Braxton with the stop on defense for the Broncos. Neil O'Donnell. We talked about his accuracy, leading the NFL in completion percentage.
That, and this is not a surprise. I mean, when you go 178, that's pretty good. You got to be good and a little lucky sometimes in this league to do that. But he's never been a guy that takes a lot of chances in this league. So for that reason, he hasn't thrown a whole lot of interceptions, regardless of what team he's been on.
Dillon, lots of running room, right side, first down yardage and more. 45, midfield and out of bounds. Alfred Williams from his defensive end position coming back to push him out.
Well, the Broncos have found a play that they like. It's going to the outside, the right position of the Denver Bronco defense. Look at nobody there. They catch the Broncos because of a formation. They catch them in a tough defense. Corey Dillon, a good, strong, hard runner, takes advantage of it.
26-yard pickup.
The Broncos are a defense, though. When you do find those cracks, the way they play, you can get some long gains running the football.
Dillon with the handoff again. Now, this is a Cincinnati offense that has come under a lot of criticism the past week. They lost at Oakland 27-10 last week, and going in, Bruce Coslet said, well, the game plan is to give the ball to Corey Dillon. Dillon ended up getting the ball 13 times all day long, and, well, the fans thought it should have been more.
Well, you know, what happens is those game plans are great, but when you go out and you get behind and certain things happen, you got to take that game plan and throw it in the garbage because you got to do what gives your team the best chance to win.
Dillon again across the 45 down to about the 44-yard line, and let's check in for an NFL Today report with Jim Nance. Jim.
All right, Greg. Well, Peyton Manning has picked up right where he left off against the 49ers. He will connect with Lamont Warren out of the backfield for a touchdown to tie that game late first quarter. Back to Greg and Phil.
All right, Jim. You know, week after week, when you watch those highlights, you can see the confidence slowly beginning to build in Peyton Manning.
Well, you got a kid that's got talent, of course, and he's gained a little experience and getting a little more confidence. Of course, the team around him's getting better.
3rd and 4. O'Donnell over the middle, has a man, and he's got it. The 15, the 10, inside the 5. First and goal for the Bengals. Tony McGee. 41 yards.
Well, this is a game plan. This is Bruce Coslet. He sprints the field. Look at this. 5 wide receivers. What he does is put Bill Romanowski, number 53, on Tony McGee right down the middle. This is a tough matchup for Bill Romanowski. Tony McGee, fast, has size, and look at this. What a target for a quarterback to throw to.
First and goal for the Bengals at the 4. Dillon, left side. May have picked up a yard.
You know, that was a little something new, the 5 wide receivers, the bingo. You know, so many things going wrong for their football team. They probably haven't had a chance to experiment and grow as much on offense as they would like because the defense has struggled so much. But we saw one of the wrinkles the play before. 5 wide receivers. Denver's defense was caught a little off guard. They go to like a really safe defense, and when you do that against a good passer, he's going to pick you apart.
You see the Bengals are the worst in the NFL in the red zone trying to get something accomplished here. Dillon, loose football. Bengals lose the ball. The Broncos have it. Bill Romanowski falls on the fumble.
John Mobley, number 51, he's the one that makes the play, causes the fumble, and that's what he does. He doesn't take on blockers and overpower people. John Mobley uses his speed. He runs around them and creates havoc. Watch number 51, top of your screen. Just runs around the block by the fullback, Brian Milne, and reaches behind him and makes the strip of the football. Here he comes. Look at that. His speed gets past the blockers so fast that the Bengals offense does not have time to react.
Coming into this game, the Bengals led the NFL in fewest giveaways. They come up with a costly one here. First down from the 8-yard line for Denver. Davis. To the 10, maybe to the 11. A pickup of 3 on the play. Clock running now, 45 seconds to play here in the first quarter.
You know, Mike Shanahan, we asked him last night, okay, your team, you know, coming to play a team that's lost 2 in a row, they're 2-5, you're perfect, all this. He says, hey, human nature, my team, we could have that letdown, but we also know the professional football players on the other side, they lose 2 in a row, the pride factor is going to come in, so they were expecting a physically tough game today against the Cincinnati Bengals.
2nd and 7. Davis gets the ball again. Left side and not much there. T.O. Spikes came up to hit him head on. And as time winds down here at the end of the first quarter, is there hope for the Bengal fans here today? You bet. They've played themselves a pretty good opening quarter. A turnover denied them a score here at the end of the period. We've played one. It's a 3-3 tie, and we'll be back.
I carved that out, Greg. See that NFL on CB? That was me. I did that.
You have a lot of time on your hands.
Yeah, thank you. I'm good at it, too.
And I know you love Halloween.
Yes, I do. Free candy.
Look at the total yardage the Bengals have chalked up. As we begin the second quarter, Elway out of the shotgun on 3rd and 5 from the 13. Under the rush, and down he goes. Michael Bankston, his 2nd sack of the season.
Boy, the Bengals defensive line in passing situations today are putting the pressure on John Elway. Bankston coming on a little game. He came from the left side of the offense, came all the way around. The Broncos deep offensive lineman slow and reacting. He gets the sack.
And now the clock stops. Number 70, Glenn Steele, the rookie out of Michigan, hobbles off the field. 4th round draft pick. Boy, what a draft these Bengals had this past year. Throwing high snap, gets kicked away out of his end zone. Gibson just a yard this side of midfield. And brought down at about the 47-yard line by Darius Johnson, who escaped the block. We'll come back to Cincinnati in a moment. Bengals take over with terrific field position. 1st and 10 from their own 47-yard line. Milne and Dillon in the backfield. And Dillon, big hole across midfield down to about the 45-yard line. A pickup of 8. Once again, Jim Nantz with an NFL Today report from New York. Jim.
All right, thank you, Greg. And Phil Simms, I know you love left-handed quarterbacks. Check out Mark Brunell. This is the longest pass play in Jacksonville history. 78 yards. Taylor will outrace Woodson, and Jacksonville leads 14-7. Back to Greg and Phil.
Gee, what do you think he meant by that left-handed quarterback?
Well, I used to play left-handed. It was too easy, so I switched over to right to make it, more of a challenge.
I do believe your son, who is destined for good things, is a left-hander. Neil O'Donnell to Milne out of the backfield. Penalty marker flies as he gets inside the 35. And now let's check the marker.
Well, you got to like what you're seeing so far from the Bengal offense.
Holding, number 53, defense, penalty is declined, 1st down.
That's Bill Romanowski.
The Bengal offense is catching a different defense off guard, but watch Bill Romanowski on Tony McGee. Gets a little pulled, and he says, hey, you beat me one time, but not again. See, that's a good adjustment by a defensive player. Well, maybe not real good.
That's a real adjustment.
But Bill Romanowski is a handsy player, likes to hit the receiver with his hands. That time just wraps it around.
Bengals showing they can move the football today. Dillon, left side, across the 30, down to the 25. Trevor Price with the tackle, and the Bengals playing football as if they don't know the Broncos are undefeated.
Well, I think Bruce Cosler is right. He says, we just got to go out there and smack them in the face, and that's really how they're playing right now. Physical, determined. Rich Bram, look at that, 74. What a kick out. And Corey Dillon, that's what you got to do. Break those arm tackles and get those extra yards. And watch Bill Romanowski takes on the block, creates a big hole for Corey Dillon by the kick-out block that time.
Corey Dillon, 12 carries, 74 yards today, and don't add much to that total on this one.
I think that's the thing that's disappointed the Bengals more than anything this year about their football team. Yeah, I think they knew their defense would struggle some because of the youth, all the young draft picks, but the offense, the offensive line, running the football. When you run the football, it really takes care of a lot of things on your team. It keeps you in good field position, the play calling's easier, and most of all, it makes it easier on your defense. Shortens the game.
Bengals come with a double tight end on 3rd and 2 and the pitch. This side, Dillon cuts inside, 1st down yardage.
does best, I think. He sees a hole, kind of like Terrell Davis. What a start, 14 carries, 79 yards. Not quite as fast as Terrell Davis, but a good hard runner. We've seen him break all those arm tackles today. And even Bruce Constance saying too. With him and John Carter would have stayed healthy, they would have had a great 1-2 punch.
O'Donnell, far side, complete. Inside the 15-yard line is Carl Pickens, and what a catch on a low throw.
You know, this is a different defense the Broncos play. There's Steve Atwater. This is like a 2-deep coverage. Both teams play in the league, but Denver does it so differently than the other team. They put one of the guys up inside to stop the run. That's Steve Atwater. The Bengals fake a play-action fake. That's why the receiver is wide open on the outside.
This is Brandon Bennett, first year back out of South Carolina, and he carries for a couple on 2nd and 4. It'll be bring up a 3rd and about 2.
Well, no matter what happens the rest of the day in this game, I think this has answered that question one more time, hasn't it, about this National Football League. Don't tell me about teams that don't have a chance. The Bengals, as tough as it's been on the last 2 weeks, and as good as Denver has played, they are dominating the Denver Broncos so far.
3rd and 2. Dillon back into the backfield. He gets the handoff. Looking for a first down. And he'll be close.
I think, well, it doesn't even matter. They'd like to make this, but if it's short, the Bengals almost, well, they get the first down. But even if it was short, the way they're running the football, the way the offensive line is coming off today off that snap of the football, they would have gone for it.
Kenny Anderson, offensive coordinator for the Bengals. 1st and 10 from the 10. Where the ball is situated, it's a 1st and goal. Look at how the Bengals have dominated the ball control today. Dillon. And Dillon pulls ahead close to the 5-yard line.
Wow, another good example. That's just everybody pushing the pile. But 1st and 10 from the 10, probably the worst position you can be on or be in as an offense, because what do? Do you run it on 1st down, try to catch them off guard or whatever? If you throw it, you get 2nd and 10. Now you have to pass it. The Bengals run it up in there, push the pile for 5 yards.
2nd and goal from the 6. O'Donnell, time, throws, incomplete. Intended for Tony McGee. McGee whacked from behind by the rookie Eric Brown.
Well, the Bengals have struggled running the football for touchdowns. Look at it, 1997, 23. The best this year, only 3. That time, they threw the football strictly to catch the Denver defense off guard. They're running the football well, but you try to outthink the defense. They went with the pass, just didn't make the completion.
The draw, Dillon. And he'll get back to the line of scrimmage, maybe gain a yard. And it'll be 4th down, and the field goal unit comes on. And so for the 3rd time in this game, inside the 20-yard line, the Bengals come up without a touchdown.
Yeah, and you know, everybody's booing. It was a draw call, but it was a good call, I think, by Bruce Constance. What do you do in that situation again? Trying to outguess the defense. But once you make the running back make a move in the backfield this close to the goal line, he's not going to score.
From 23 yards out, the kick by Doug Pelfrey is perfect. 8:37 to play. First half, the Bengals regain the lead at 6-3.
See, we do chicken right.
Back at Synergy Field, Lee Johnson gets set to kick it away for the Bengals, who have squandered 3 chances for touchdowns inside the 20. Come away with 6 points instead. The defense has held the Broncos to just 3 so far with 8:37 to play in the first half. 2 yards deep in the end zone is Vaughn Everett. The 20. And across the 25 to about the 27, maybe the 28-yard line. Jimmy Sprott, the rookie out of Arizona, laying the wood. Along along with Phil Simms and Armin Kasayan. Greg Gumbel back in Cincinnati, just under 8.5 to play here in the first half. We remind you, coming up at halftime, we'll be sending you back to New York for the NASDAQ halftime report. Jim Nance, Marcus Allen, Brent Jones, George Seifert getting you caught up on all the action from this weekend. And a look at how some NFL players made Halloween special for a bunch of kids. It's coming up on the NASDAQ halftime report. Broncos with the ball, 1st and 10 from their own 27-yard line. John Elway goes back to work, and he'll give to Terrell Davis. Running room on the right side, across the 35, and close to a first down. Greg Myers with the stop. So when in doubt, you go back to your bread and butter.
You know, how easy is it for the Denver Broncos? I mean, you're over there, you're struggling, the defense is struggling. So you go, the offense, you only got 3 points. Let's just give it to Terrell Davis. Let's change the pace of the game, get ourselves in some good situations where we can make some big plays later.
Vaughn Hebron is now in as the other back, along with Davis in the backfield on 2nd and 1. That's Hebron in motion. Gives to Davis. Davis, first down.
And if a play works to the right, why not do the same play to the left? That time, the exact same play. They ran on first down. Terrell Davis, not quite the hole there was, but he sticks it up in there and gets a couple yards.
Boy, what kind of a season has Terrell Davis had? More rushing yardage than 26 teams in the National Football League, and has scored as many as or more touchdowns than 10 teams in the NFL.
Well, that says a lot about him, but it also says a lot about the offensive line of the Denver Broncos. A lot of people thought that would be the weak spot of the team this year, but again, it's remained one of the strengths.
First down from the 40. Elway throws to McCaffrey, and McCaffrey is hit and brought down by Ashley Ambrose.
Ashley Ambrose, probably the best defensive back on this football team, going against Eddie McCaffrey. Goes across the field. He does a good job of not falling too closely and getting picked off by one of his own players. Makes the tackle.
We congratulate Ashley Ambrose. He just became a new daddy last Wednesday. In fact, he and his wife Monica, with a baby daughter, Asia. He is still wearing the hospital wristband. On the field today, 2nd and 8. Davis finds room across the 45 out to about the 46 or 47-yard line. Pick up a 4 on the play. Asked him actually if he's getting any sleep, and he said,
no, he's coming to the game today to get some rest.
That's right.
You know, that's the way it is, but he knew everything about that baby. He said, hey, 18 inches long, 6 pounds, 9 ounces, and, very proud he should be.
Asia Elaine.
There it is. See it now. Got on the outside of his taped up wrist.
5 wide receivers on 3rd and 4. Elway throws down the field. And what a throw and what a catch by Shannon Sharp. Bengals all around it.
Bengals all around, and somebody on this look has got to make a play, really. I mean, it's a good throw and catch, John Elway to Shannon Sharp, but the safety, Greg Myers, you saw him coming in, number 31, he could see almost right from the snap that John Elway looked for Shannon Sharp. You got to get over there, make the hit, or deflect that pass.
Shannon Sharp now with 499 career receptions. First down from the 38-yard line. Deep drop for Elway. Plenty of time. Throws, and it's complete at about the 35-yard line to Terrell Davis. Such a deep drop by Elway. That's only a 3-yard pickup.
Well, he was looking down the field, but nobody got open. That time the corners of the Bengals did a good job covering the wide receivers. Elway looking, hey, this is the spot of the field. Once you get inside the other team's 40-yard line, somewhere along the line, usually on first down, you're looking for that big play to get you in the end zone. That time the Bengals took it away.
2nd and 7. This time, has time, throws, Detron Smith makes the catch and is hit immediately by number 35, Sam Shade.
Well, I don't know what John Elway looked to his right. He didn't like it. Awesome protection by the offensive line. Then he turns left and Detron Smith, hey, you get to finally get in there and play. Howard Griffin, his hamstring's a little beat up, and look what you got to do. You got to reach up, catch that ball, and then take the leg. They call that's barbecue, When the quarterback makes you reach like that, you get hit in the ribs. Barbecue.
3rd and 6. Quick pass. McCaffrey lost the football. Picked up by Rod Smith. Smith inside the 15. And that'll be a first down, a fortuitous first down for the Denver Broncos.
Well, you're blitzing a veteran football team. Well, before I say that, Denver's getting some breaks here early in the game, but watch from the left side of your screen. Ashley Ambrose, the defensive back. Ed McCaffrey, what a good move by him. Sees the blitz, finds the open hole, but then he fumbles. Look, he sits down in an open space from where the blitzer came from, and then the Bengals cannot find the loose ball.
First down, Broncos at the Cincinnati 13. 2:50 to play in the first half. Elway with time. All alone and overthrew his man in the end zone. That's twice Elway has had McCaffrey open in the end zone and missed it.
Wow, John Elway looking all around the field. Hey, what a terrific job of finding the open receiver. Watch Eddie McCaffrey. A little fake there, gets inside his man. Nobody picks him up, and John Elway trying to get the ball with the head of a linebacker. It just takes off on him. Not even close to hitting Eddie McCaffrey. Eddie's going, man, 2 touchdowns I could have had today.
2nd and 10. Elway has it. Under pressure, escapes, throws, end zone, batted away. That's the rookie, Artrell Hawkins. Hawkins, the 2nd-round draft pick out of the University of Cincinnati.
And what a play. The quarterback scrambled. He kept hustling, kept his feet underneath him, and was able to find where John Elway was going to throw it and dive and knock the pass down.
Justin Armour is onto the field as a wide receiver for the Broncos on 3rd and 10. Elway corralled and brought down at the 20. Andre Purvis gets the 2nd sack of the day for the Bengals.
This is really what's been happening. We said it earlier. On 3rd down, watch what happens. John Elway, Clyde Simmons, 96. He makes him step up into the pocket. Elway loses sight of his receivers down the field. Then lets the other defensive lineman make the sack.
Jason Elam from 37 yards out. And it's good. 2 minutes, 12 seconds to play here in the first half. Bruce Coslett, Cincinnati Bengals make a defensive stand of their own, and we're tied at 6.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Stanley. Whatever it is, wherever it is, make something great. And by Claritas.
2 minutes, 12 seconds to play in the first half. The Broncos and the Bengals are tied at 6. And John Elway looking to be in a little discomfort on the sideline.
Well, it looks like he had the breath knocked out of him, and looking at his chest or somewhere in there. When that happens sometimes when these big 300-pounders fall on you. Hurts.
Tremaine Mack takes the kick at the 6. 25, 30, 35, and finally brought down at about the 47, 48-yard line. The Bengals get themselves in terrific field position as we take the 2-minute warning here at Synergy Field. The Bengals are all fired up today. We were Remind you once again, coming up at halftime, we'll be sending you off to New York for the NASDAQ halftime report. Jim Marcus, Brent George, with all the action from this weekend of the season, and a look at how some NFL players made Halloween special for a bunch of kids. That's the NASDAQ halftime report coming up a minute 59 seconds from now. Who is that?
Now that's a good hit. Now that's good.
You just love Halloween. There's Howard Griffith talking to Vaughn Hebron, who was in at Howard's position. Boy, you know, you're hard-pressed to find a man who is better at his position than Howard Griffith.
He is a terrific job, and he's one of the main reasons why Denver runs the football so well.
Neil O'Donnell, play action. Time. Couldn't uncork it and now throws it away on the sideline.
Now that will be a penalty, and here it comes. It is a penalty. Neil O'Donnell that is illegally throwing the football away to avoid the sack. Alfred Williams, number 91, is on him.
No foul. The quarterback is out of the pocket.
Wow.
No foul.
Here is the pocket. Let's watch Neil O'Donnell. It goes from here to where a tight end would be on each side. Excuse me. That side and that side. Let's see if he stays in it. Basically the hash marks. He scrambles out. And he is outside the pocket. Excuse me. I'm wrong. I hate to admit it, too.
Happens every Halloween.
That's right.
2nd and 10. Dillon tries to duck outside, comes back in, gets the ball to midfield to pick up 2 on the play, and it'll be 3rd and about 8. And the Bengals call timeout to stop the clock with a minute 42 to play in the first half. Bruce Coslett and Neil O'Donnell will huddle. Mike Shanahan, much of this season has been a pretty good cakewalk for the Denver Broncos, but they find themselves in a battle here this afternoon.
Well, it's never a cakewalk, but they performed at such a high level. That's one of the reasons why they're 7-0. And the Bengals, hey, they're going to go in at halftime. The Broncos, and everybody's being outplayed on their side of the football. Very fortunate to be tied 6-6.
O'Donnell, 3rd and 8, over the middle. Complete, terrific catch by Tony McGee.
That's what you need on 3rd down situation. The Bengals do a good job of buying Neil O'Donnell the time. He finds an open receiver down the field.
Broncos call timeout to stop the clock at a minute and a half. Bruce Coslett was telling us yesterday that he's had a pretty good go of it here in Cincinnati, but they have to do things differently and turn things around even more to attract the kind of free agents they want to get here. O'Donnell goes down the sideline. It is incomplete. The penalty marker will fly. Ray Crockett was defending against Carl Pickens.
That's something you'd like to see if you're the Cincinnati Bengals. Just throw the ball deep down the field. Carl Pickens, a big wide receiver.
Defensive pass interference, number 39. First down.
Just give this guy a chance to catch the football. Everybody talks about when there's a defender around him, how good he is at going to the football, and you can see Ray Crockett, what he does, he prevents Carl Pickens from going towards the football. Anytime a defensive back impedes the progress of the wide receiver, they're going to throw the penalty flag out at you.
That is the first penalty of the game, and it's a costly one for the Broncos. First down from the 2. Dillon. Trevor Price stops him after a 1-yard pickup. Clock continues to run to minute 15.
You know, no hurry for the Cincinnati Bengals. You got a minute 10. You're 2nd and goal from the 1-yard line. You can take your time, run the football.
And now the Denver Broncos burn a timeout. They're 2nd, so each team has 1 remaining.
Well, that's a good job of the Broncos. If the Bengals do score, they're trying to preserve some time for themselves so they can run their hurry-up offense before halftime, too. That's good clock management. That's what a coach has to do on the sideline. Mike Shanahan, he looks at it. Don't let the Bengals run the clock down and make the last couple plays of the half them scoring a touchdown. He says, if they're going to score, we're going to get a chance. And a coach, give your team the best chance to win. Keep them in right situation.
The Bengals' 4th trip inside the 20-yard line today. They have 2 field goals. They fumbled it away once. and would love to get a touchdown on the board here before the end of the first half.
Well, it's important they score a touchdown. One, they know they've dominated the first half, the players physically in every aspect. They want to go in at halftime with the lead.
Second and goal. Dillon, left side, and a penalty marker is down. It doesn't appear that he got in. He's out at about the half-yard line, and Eric Brown with a big hit.
What a play by Eric Brown, the rookie. This play should have walked into the end zone.
And this will be against the Bengals.
Holding.
Bob Michael, I don't know what happened. I'm sure the Broncos won't accept this.
Looks like he has to clear it with Neil Smith first.
Yes. Well, Neil's big.
Holding. Number 75. Offense. 10 yards. Repeat the down. Second down.
That's Anthony Brown, guilty of the hold.
Number 75. Here he is. Watch him. That's where they call the holding. Gets those hands. Oh. There's no way you can knock a defender down from that angle. It had to be holding.
Second down from the 12. O'Donnell. Incomplete. Intended for Brian Mills. And now it's third down. And the Bengals in danger again of sputtering inside the 20-yard line.
Neil O'Donnell was walking off the field. He thought it was third down. No, when the penalty was brought back, Neil, they gave you the extra down again. And of course, you can hear it. Every time the Bengals don't make a positive play, when you're 2-5, these fans, not there against you, but you got to win them back. You got to make plays to get in the end zone.
Eric Bieniemy, number 21, in the backfield. O'Donnell out of the shotgun. And the whistle blows. This play doesn't count.
Prior to the snap. Off start. 77. Offense.
That's Kevin Sargent, the left tackle.
Repeat the down. Third down.
And the Bengals self-destructing in the red zone so far today.
Well, this might not be the worst thing that can happen, Cole. Procedure, Kevin Sargent, number 75. Hey, he's against Alfred Williams. He wants to get in good position. Sometimes, even as a quarterback, sometimes you can't get upset at your tackles in these obvious passing situations of moving. But what it does, it gives the Bengals more field. It spreads out the defense a little more. It might give you a chance to hit between two defenders.
Alfred Williams spent 4 years here in Cincinnati. Third and 17. O'Donnell with time over the middle. Touchdown! Damon Gibson.
That's how you make an offense work.
Boy, did Neil O'Donnell have time to find his man.
And did he keep looking for the open receiver? And finally, he found Damon Gibson in the back of the end zone, and a terrific job of picking up the blitz of the Cincinnati Bengals.
Pelfrey. And the fumble snap will not get the extra point done. Well, Pelfrey was a perfect 13 for 13. Prior to that, let's go back to the touchdown.
Well, Neil O'Donnell, first off, what happens? Look at the blitz by the Denver Broncos. Watch Eric Bieniemy, number 21, pick it up. And Neil O'Donnell looks at the first receiver. He's not open. And then he finds the second receiver, Damon Gibson, in the back of the end zone. Boy, that takes some patience by a quarterback to wait that long to find the open receiver. And another scoring opportunity by the Bengals.
The high snap to Johnson. Johnson, by the time he got it down, it was too late to convert. There is the rookie. It's Damon Gibson. His second touchdown of the season.
I'm sorry, Greg. All the mistakes the Bengals have made, they overcame it because they physically beat up the Denver Broncos. But this score, 12-6. Well, what if? But if you're the Bengals going in halftime, you stress the positives. You got a young team. Things have been going bad for your football team, and you just got to come out and hope to continue in the second half.
57 seconds on the clock. Bruce Coslett, a 500 coach.
Well,
since he's been here.
That's right. You know, and the way you perceive it and the way everybody talks about the Cincinnati Bengals, you think he's won one out of about every 10.
Denver has led at halftime in 12 straight games. This is Hebron. The 20. And out of bounds, and a penalty marker is down at about the 25-yard line. A little pushing and shoving out at midfield between Tremaine Mack and one of the Denver Broncos.
Holding number 42 during the return. 10 yards, first down.
So this will back the Broncos closer to their goal line.
Well, the Broncos, 51 seconds ago, one timeout. I know they wanted to go in the hurry-up offense. Now, you move it back a little more, and sometimes that 10-yard penalty can really make you hesitant. Well, look, we're really lucky to be down just 12-6. Most teams would sit on the football, but the Broncos are not most teams.
Elway out of the shotgun from the 15-yard line. And they'll hand the ball off. Out across the 20 to about the 23-yard line is Terrell Davis. Clyde Simmons with the stop after an 8-yard pickup, and the clock continues to move. This time throws, has his man, and that's Shannon Sharp, and that's career catch number 500 for Sharp. Only two other tight ends, Ozzie Newsome, Kellen Winslow. Well, and now Shannon Sharp.
Yeah, there's 10 seconds to go in the half. John Elway's going to run another play. No, he's not.
He'll let the clock wind down, and that'll do it. So despite all their problems in the first half, the Cincinnati Bengals, winning the battle at the line of scrimmage, go off the field with a 6-point lead.
Well, that's the way it always is, Greg. If your big guys beat up the other team's big guys, it gives all your small guys a chance to be stars. And so far, both sides of the ball, the Bengals, especially their offensive line, very impressive, taking advantage of the smaller defensive line of the Denver Broncos.
You know, one of the things that you and I always talk about, Bill, is that football is such a game of emotion. Is there any other way to describe how a team that's had the problems of the Bengals can compete in the first half?
The Bengals are tired of losing.
You bet. Our halftime score, 12-6 in favor of Cincinnati. We'll be sending you to New York on the NASDAQ.
CBS Sports presentation of the NASDAQ Halftime Report is sponsored by the NASDAQ Stock Market.
Hi, everybody. Good to have you with us. Jim Nance, NASDAQ Halftime Report from the CBS Broadcast Center. And at halftime, how about it? The Bengals over the Broncos. And the Bengals, well, hey, Brent, we've talked about it on the NFL Today. Certain to give up at least 400 yards, you would think. But so far in the first half, not the story. 139 yards for the Broncos versus 253 for Cincinnati, running up and down the field.
That's right. I hammered their defense in the pregame show. They probably saw me out there. They said, we're going to show this guy. They're really looking pretty good. They've had a couple of big plays. Tony McGee beating Bill Romanowski down the pipe, one-on-one. That's a mismatch. Look for them to try to exploit that in the second half.
All right, so Denver undefeated, riding a 12-game winning streak, but trailing at halftime. Elsewhere in the NFL today, the Dolphins and the Bills now go to the half. The game is all tied. Flutie has thrown 2 touchdowns here. The magic show continues up in Orchard Park. But first, it was Dan Marino to Orinda Gadsden, the former Arena League player. What an effort there. Now here comes Phillips, man. Flutie.
Flutie finds a wide-open Reamersma here after a great play fake up inside on a goal line pass.
But then the Dolphins would take the 14-7 lead. It's Kareem Abdul-Jabbar from a yard out. but that lead would only hold for a few minutes because back came Flutie and this guy Reamersma. Look at this catch here, Coach.
He looks awesome. It reminds me of Jamie Williams or Wesley Wall.
Yeah, it was all me. Don't even try that, pal.
Anyone but old number 84. That game's tied at halftime, 14-all. New England and the Colts. And look at Manning's numbers. Impressive here, but the Patriots lead. Pete Carroll trying to get his team going. They've lost 2 in a row. And here's Bledsoe, the big coach. They hooked up for the 40th time, those two, for a touchdown. And now here's Manning, the rookie, so poised today. Lamont Warren out of the backfield for the touchdown. But another rookie, talking about Robert Edwards, he finds the end zone every week, it seems. And the Patriots lead as a result, 14-10. Vikings, undefeated. They kick a field goal in the last play of the half to tie the Bucs. Arizona and Detroit, the story here, Charlie Batch has been picked off 3 times in the first half. Jacksonville and Baltimore, that 42, that's the biggest number in the first half in the league this year, put up by anybody. Tennessee and Pittsburgh could be a stunner at the Steelers, and Eddie George with a big first half. McNair also, he's thrown for 2 touchdowns. Giants trailing, final 30 seconds of the first half. Redskins, Green getting the start now. They keep shuttling the quarterbacks, a touchdown run and a touchdown pass. Rams and Falcons, Falcons going up and down the field, 250 yards total offense versus only 54 for the Rams. That's why that one's such a big number, 20-7. And Carolina, looking for its first victory, they pick off the Saints starting quarterback, Billy Joe Tolliver, and they run it back for a touchdown. Eric Davis, perhaps we will see Kerry Collins as he returns today to Carolina. And here's the touchdown, O'Donnell to Gibson, and the Bengals in a stunner at halftime. And we'll continue on the NASDAQ halftime report in a moment.
Welcome back to Cincinnati, where you read it right, folks. At halftime, the Bengals are leading the Broncos by a score of 12-6. Take a look at the halftime numbers. Total yardage belongs at this point to the Cincinnati Bengals, 238 to 128. But look at the time of possession. Time of possession advantage in the first half has gone to the Bengals. Greg Gumbel along with Phil Simms and Armin Katsayan, and that's a big difference in this game.
Well, the Bengals, the worst in the league at holding the football. Why they've done such a good job today? Running the football. That's everything for a football team. It tells you you're physically winning the war. And when you win the physical war in the NFL, you usually win on the scoreboard too.
And now the Halloween question for you is, can they sustain it in the second half?
Well, I think they can. I don't see any reason why they can't. I mean, I think the Denver Broncos came in here a little flat off a big game last week against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now they're playing against a team emotionally and physically sky high. Everything they're doing is working, so I think it's going to be tough for the Denver Broncos to dominate today.
Terrell Davis, 11 carries for 62 yards in the first half. You can't say they have really held him in check, maybe contained him a little bit.
Well, that's what we've always heard from coaches who play the Denver Broncos. You're not going to stop Terrell Davis. Can we just slow him down, contain him, keep the game some semblance so we do have a chance to make plays when they have to pass the ball, and they've done that on defense today.
Corey Dillon, 19 carries, 88 yards in the first half. Neil O'Donnell, 7 of 14 for 139 yards and a touchdown. Hebron and the Broncos will receive the second half kickoff. These Bengals come in at 2-5. They lost their opener against Tennessee. They went to Detroit and won. Lost a heartbreaker at Green Bay, 13-6, and lost at Baltimore. Then came home and beat Pittsburgh before 2 straight losses on the road at Tennessee and Oakland. And whistle blows. And let's see what this one's about.
Well, you don't see that too often. Delay of game against the kicking team. Just like an offensive play, once they blow the ball in play, you have 25 seconds to tee it up, get ready, kick it off, and it looks like the Bengals took too long.
Not the way Bruce Coslett wanted to start this second half. And Bob McElwee's microphone apparently not working.
Well, just scream it at us, Bob.
Let's check in with Armin Katayan. Armin.
Greg, I talked to both coaches. Bruce Coughlin, he said, man, so far so good, but geez, we got to get in the end zone against the world champions. As far as that bad snap, that was their third string snapper because of injuries. Bruce goes, I could do it better than that. Mike Shanahan, no panic at all. He says, we got to get the ball in the end zone. I said, are you dodging bullets? He said, well, so are they. They're not really scoring. Back to you.
All right, Armin.
Bruce Coughlin, did he say G's?
I think Armin said G.
Yeah, I know. Bruce Coughlin, he was a lot of fun to talk to yesterday. I mean, he was to the point, and, I said, well, Coach, what's the one thing that you're really happy about this football team? I'm happy about nothing. Okay. And so we moved on from there. But I think his attitude is the attitude he has given to his football team. I'm tired of hearing about this, that. Let's just go out and get it done, be physical, and play hard.
The ball just inside of his own 10-yard line. 20. And down at about the 26-yard line. And so that's where Elway and the Broncos will go to work, first and 10 from their own 26. John Elway, 4,000 completions. Dan Marino, of course, the other man in that category.
There's so many things that are impressive about that, but I guess the first thing that comes to my mind, you got to stay healthy for a long period of time, no matter how much you throw it, to get 4,000 completions.
First down from the 26. Elway will start off going to the air. Plenty of time. Throwing down the middle. McCaffrey slides down, reverses direction, and picks up another 6 or 7 yards before he's brought down by Sam Shade near the 40.
John Elway drops back, deep drop. The offensive line gives him plenty of time. But watch the route by Ed McCaffrey. He comes down. It looks like it's out, up, fake, go to the inside. Ashley Ambrose, a very good corner in the National Football League, but it's hard to cover a receiver when he gets a chance to make 3 moves. That was a terrific route.
World of time for John Elway to throw the ball. First down from the 41. Terrell Davis, right side. Across the 35, down to about the 34-yard line.
When you play football and you're a quarterback in the National Football League, I've seen a lot of routes, a lot of ways to try to get open, but I've never seen the out, the up, the fake, and then go inside. So the Denver Broncos, Ed McCaffrey, really having a terrific year, showing that he knows how to set up a defensive back and create space between him and the defensive back and get the easy completion.
We didn't really appreciate you missing the production meeting last night to go trick-or-treating, by the way.
Hey, it's free candy, Greg. I got to go get it. I like it.
Second and 3. Play action. Elway. Time. Throws this side of the field, and he's intercepted. There's a penalty marker down. Back to about the 29-yard line is Brian Simmons, the rookie out of North Carolina. The penalty is against the Bengals.
Holding, number 58, defense, 5 yards, automatic first down.
He means number 56, Brian Simmons. But John Elway standing back there forever, waiting to find somebody open. There's nobody. Brian Simmons was in good position to get the interception. He makes it. But as you look at his jersey, you can see why they confuse it with the 58 sometimes. Watch what happens. They're a little fooled. He gets both hands on Shannon Sharp's left arm, pulls him.
So it's first down for the Broncos at the Bengals 29. Big turnaround. Davis, big hole up the middle, close to the 20-yard line. And close to a first down before James Francis made the tackle.
I heard Armin Katayan, of course, tell us about when he talked to Mike Shanahan coming out at halftime. I got to disagree with Coach. The ball has bounced your way. You have been very, very fortunate to be in this situation where the score is only 12-6.
4 times in the red zone in the first half. The Bengals came away with a touchdown and 2 field goals. Second and 1. Langford made the tackle.
And that's the one thing that's probably impressed me more today about the Cincinnati Bengals, the fact that they're hanging in there. Terrell Davis, 14 rushes for 81 yards. I mean, that's really good, but I thought this would be the part of the game where the Broncos would just dominate the Bengals defense, just running it over with the running game.
First down from the 16. Davis again. Gets to the outside, a stiff arm, gets him to the 10, and close to the 5-yard line before he's out of bounds.
You know what happens to a lot of players in this league? You watch film and you see it on TV and you go, I could have made that play, what's going on? But watch Ashley Ambrose, number 33. You know, he comes up to make the tackle on Terrell Davis. He puts the right hand on top of his helmet, and down he goes. Look at this. Push him to the ground. You cannot arm tackle Terrell Davis.
And now Michael Bankston limping off the field for Cincinnati. Making his way to the sideline, he's replaced by the rookie Glenn Steele.
Hey, Greg, it's second and a foot. Almost every running back in the National Football League, we'd be looking at second and 10 or 11. Terrell Davis turns the corner, makes a bad play into a really good one.
Davis, first down, touchdown. Penalty marker flies in the backfield. And it's going to come back.
Holding on Tom Nalen.
Holding, number 66, offense, 10 yards, second down.
So the Bengals catch a break.
Here's what happened. Watch number 66, the center, Tom Nalen, on Kimo Van Olhoffen. They go to the right. Now watch when they start coming backwards. When they went backwards, Bob McElwee, he sees them coming towards him. He goes, you know, it doesn't make sense. The defender's going this way. When they fall down, they don't even see the hands. They're going to throw that penalty flag.
Second and 11 from the 17. Elway keeps it and throws it away. Renard Wilson was the man chasing Elway outside.
Well, that time the Denver Broncos, what they were doing, John Elway was faking the run to the left. He was going to sprint all the way to the right. Well, he was going to run. His sprinting days, I think, were over. And he was going to throw a screen across the field to Terrell Davis, the defense, in good position to stop it.
Big play for the Bengals defense here. 5 wide receivers for Denver on 3rd and 11. Elway throws for the corner. Touchdown! Willie Green.
You can't defend what you don't see. Thomas Randolph, number 20, is on Willie Green. He never sees the ball. John Elway made a nice little pump to keep the safety from coming over and getting into play, and finds Willie Green with a laser shot before Thomas Randolph can react to it.
Elam for the lead. Bruin gets the kick, the snap down, and the kick is good. The mile-high salute signals the Broncos taking the lead. Number 85, Willie Green, on the receiving end of a 17-yard touchdown pass from John Elway. And the Broncos have taken a 13-12 lead. This is Tremaine Mack from his 8th. And hit hard as he approached the 30-yard line. And knocked back a couple. So Neil O'Donnell and the Cincinnati offense will go back to work with 11:10 to play in the 3rd quarter. We welcome you back to Cincinnati on this day after Halloween. Dick LeBeau talks to his defensive troops. You know, the Bengals, or the Broncos, had their team Halloween party. John Elway showed up as a big baby in a diaper and a bib. Wow. Bill Romanowski was a gangster. Ed McCaffrey came as an olive and wore a red hat for the pimento.
That's pretty creative.
Hey, you want to hear creative? His wife Lisa showed up as Shannon Sharp. First down from the 29-yard line. They put Corey Dillon back to work. He tries the right side and gets nothing at all. No pickup, may have even lost a yard. Trailer there for the tackle. We remind you, the NFL comes alive on CBS Sportsline. Check out the game plan feature for in-depth team reports, roster moves, and coaches' decisions on your favorite team at cbs.sportsline.com.
We got a penalty marker down on the field. I saw Bill Romanowski talking to the official.
The crowd likes the fact that it's going to be against the Broncos.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, 51, defense, 15 yards, automatic first down.
That's John Mobley. And this is a big 15-yard penalty, which will improve the Bengals' situation on the field.
Well, I was just saying during the commercial break, Greg, we're talking. I said I thought it was very important for the Bengals to get something going, get this ball moving, to take the pressure off of their defense, not to put them right back out on the field. Give them a rest, take some of the rhythm away from the Denver offense. And so Denver helps them out. 15-yard penalty when there was, no gain on the first down running play.
First down now from the 43-yard line. Dillon up to about the 45. So we were talking with Kenny Anderson about this Denver defense and which way do you attack it? The first thing you got to do is keep them on the field because they're never out there.
Well, there's a lot of truth there. The Denver defense, everybody says it now. They're so aggressive. They can take so many chances. And why they can, because they're ahead. They know their offense is going to score some points. So that way they go out there, they take those chances, and they create big plays for themselves.
2nd and 8. O'Donnell has his man out of the backfield. That's Dillon, and Dillon diving forward near midfield to pick up about 4. And it'll be 3rd down. You saw the scores flying by. Potential for a lot of surprises around the NFL today.
One of them's happening right here. Neil O'Donnell doing a good job. 8 of 15 for 144 yards. Neil, what he does best, he manages the football game. He doesn't take chances, so he keeps your offense in a lot of good situations.
3rd and 4. O'Donnell throws incomplete. Bengals fans, and here comes a late flag out of the secondary. Pedrez and Darian Gordon converging on the receiver.
Defensive pass interference, number 21.
That's Gordon. And that's another big break here for the Bengals.
Well, Darian Gordon, he's in good position. It looks like he trips over the wide receiver, number 85, James Hunden. Watch him on the outside. He's going to come underneath. He gets this too aggressive. And here's the penalty. Look at this. You got to have a good arm to be an official in this league. Look at that.
He's going to have booster rockets to come from that far.
30 yards.
O'Donnell eluding the rush, but not enough. Goes down to the 45-yard line. Mike Lodish, Neil Smith in on O'Donnell.
Well, Neil Smith coming from the Kansas City Chiefs a couple years ago, keeps on hustling. He's not in the play. Mike Lodish flushes Neil O'Donnell up. He gets the sack. And, talking to him yesterday, he just thinks that playing with the Denver Broncos, the way they practice, the way they do things, it's going to add a couple years onto his career.
Dillon on the draw, can't get started. He was corralled by Ma'a.
And you can see that Denver Broncos defense, they went in the locker room at halftime, and I'm sure the coaches didn't even have to yell at them. They yelled at each other. Just got manhandled in the first half. Their intensity level, their aggressiveness is much better here in the second half in these few plays we've seen.
Being a complete turnaround here in the second half. The Bengals not really able to generate anything offensively. The mileage they've gotten here in this drive has been attributed to a couple of penalties. 3rd and 15. O'Donnell with time, pulls it down, throws, the enemy drops it.
Bengals. They got the first down. They ate a little clock up. We only have 8 minutes and 18 seconds. Now they can put the Broncos back inside the 20, hopefully, and gave their defense some rest and gives them a better chance to succeed when they come out on the field.
Lee Johnson. Ford fair catching and lets the ball bounce. And it takes a Broncos bounce back out across the 20 to about the 22-yard line. That's a 24-yard punt. We'll take a timeout and come back to Cincinnati. Funny stuff.
Yeah, it's my wife's favorite show. I like it too, of course.
Well, you have to. Thank you. First down from the 21-yard line for the Broncos. Elway throws near side. Rod Smith diving. Did he keep a foot in bounds? No.
It took them a while, but once they came to a decision, it was unanimous. He was out.
Let's take a look.
Watch the sideline throw. Really a terrific job by Rod Smith trying to get his feet down. Ooh. There it is. Both of his toes on the ground. And wow. I'd give it to him just for the effort. And it looks good too.
Goes into the books as an incomplete pass, 2nd and 10. Terrell Davis, left side. Finds a seam and picks up about 5 before Michael Bankston makes the stop. Terrell Davis now within 5 yards of 100 on the day. A sneaky 100 today.
Well, it is. And, you know, Terrell Davis, if he doesn't rip off those long runs, you think you're doing a good job of containing him. And so far today they have.
On 3rd and 5, the Broncos go with 5 wide receivers. The blitz. It's batted into the air and falls incomplete. Ashley Ambrose came from the corner on the blitz.
Well, every time the Bengals have gone to 5 wide receivers, the Broncos have gone to 5 wide receivers. The Bengals have played a very conservative defense. This time, watch. Ashley Ambrose comes in, knocks the pass down, makes John Elway get rid of it quicker, because if you let a good quarterback stand back there against zone coverage in the National Football League, he's going to find the open spot to throw to.
Tom Ruin kicks it away. Gibson from his 29. And back to about the 35, maybe the 36-yard line before he's brought down. 45-yard punt, 6-yard return, and the Bengals go back on offense right after this.
You're doing American Express helps you do more.
A look from across the river at Synergy Field. John Elway takes a look along with Mike Shanahan along the sidelines as we return to action. 7:06 to play in the 3rd quarter of a tighter than expected football game. The Broncos with a 1-point lead on the Bengals. First down for Cincinnati from their own 36-yard line. And they'll go back to the ground with Corey Dillon. Dillon gets past the line of scrimmage, picks up about 4 on the play. Full house on hand here. These Bengals, as we mentioned earlier, looking ahead to a new stadium in the year 2000. Here's Armin.
You're right, Greg. 67,000-seat stadium in the year 2000 for the Bengals. In Denver, a very big vote on Tuesday, referendum 4A, to build a new $400 million stadium. About 3/4 of that money would be used by public taxes, the continuation of taxes already in place. The interesting thing is the numbers have ticked up as the Broncos have won. It's about 60% approval rating right now. As if the Broncos needed extra incentive to win, they've got it.
All right, Armin.
Well, when your football teams win, it just makes everybody feel good. Sure, they want it, give it to them. You know, take care of that team. They're playing well. We like them. And a lot of reasons to like the Broncos. Super Bowl champions, all the star players, starting out perfect. Good time for a stadium vote to come out.
3rd and 2 as we hit the 6-minute mark here in the 3rd quarter. Bill runs for it. First down, Corey Dillon. 4-yard pickup.
situations like this is when you really appreciate having a big physical halfback on your football team. 3rd and 2. This is a crucial down for the Cincinnati Bengals. And watch this. There's not a gaping hole in there. Look at that. Ray Crockett comes in. Lyman hit him. Corey Dillon fights his way through there and picks up a big first down for this offense.
Corey Dillon now within 4 yards of 100 on the day. Play action. O'Donnell over the middle, in and out of the hands of Dillon, who came out of the backfield.
Well, that's what you do. You run the football a few times, you pick up a first down, then you think, okay, now it's time we can get our quarterback some extra time in the pocket to throw the football down the field, but really good coverage by the Broncos defense that time.
Three right off the bat, 3 passes that I can think of that O'Donnell has thrown that should have been caught today.
Well, that time, you got to remember, throwing to a halfback out of the backfield, you can't throw the football too hard. I thought he threw it too hard for Corey Dillon to handle.
2nd and 10, Dillon on the draw, trying to break it outside. And Mobley closes on him in a hurry. That'll be the loss of a yard on the play.
You know, John Mobley, number 51, he plays, we saw it earlier, he caused the fumble strictly with speed. So if you turn the corner and think you're going to outrun him, you can't do it. I mean, talking to him last night, played at Cuts-Down State, he did it all. Return kick, return punts, played linebacker, and when you need a touchdown, hey, put him in there at halfback, he'll get it for you.
Eric Bieniemy is into the lineup now as O'Donnell works from the shotgun on 3rd and 11. Time to throw, throws far side, has his man. That's complete to Carl Pickens, and it's a first down. The Broncos upset about the spot.
It's a good spot. He did the proper thing. Carl Pickens goes past the yard marker for the first down. Look at him against Darian Gordon. Way past. Then he comes back to the football. Look at the good coverage. The perfect throw by Neil O'Donnell. Just enough to get the first down.
Bengals move now to the Denver 41. Brandon Bennett is the tailback behind O'Donnell, and he gets the football. Gets to the outside, cuts back in, and gets a couple of yards. Trailer and Tanubasa down the line to make the stop. You know, going back to John Mobley, John said, you know, I was having a little trouble getting a good read on where I might go in the draft. He eventually was taken in the first round. He was a first-round pick, the number 15 selection back in 1996.
And, you know, you think of the school and you think, boy, it must have been a surprise. But everybody in the league had him tagged to go in the first round. A lot of people actually thought he would go in the top 10 players.
2nd and 6, Dillon. And runs into a pileup at about the 35. May have gained about 3 on the play. Clock continues to move down now toward 3 minutes to play in the 3rd quarter.
Well, remember we talked to Neil O'Donnell yesterday in the 3rd down situations, and they were struggling so much with them, and he said, he goes, hey, we need to just run the ball on 1st down. We need to run it on 2nd down and keep those 3rd downs as short as possible. 3rd and 4, that gives your team, your chances almost double, but it's like less than 7 yards of picking it up. So a good situation for the Cincinnati offense.
5 wide receivers for O'Donnell now. Quick drop, quick throw, incomplete, intended for Willie Jackson. Darius Johnson was there to defend.
Well, this 5 wide receiver set, it's something Neil O'Donnell must feel comfortable with because they really started it when he was the quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers. So Bruce Coslett has kind of incorporated into the offense, but a good job at time by Darius Johnson, recognizing it and knowing it's going to be a quick throw.
Doug Pelfrey will attempt a 52-yard field goal. He has made them from 25 and 23. His long this season is 51. The kick is up. The kick is no good. Wide to the right. The problem there, the Broncos take over with pretty good field position.
Johnson is the holder. The last time the ball went high, this time it's low and away. And look at that, has a little trouble spotting the football, and that's just enough to make Doug Pelfrey hesitate somewhere in his mind probably, and he pushes the ball to the right a little.
There is Steve Bush, suffered a concussion in the first half. He is the second string long snapper. Scott Shaw, the number 3 snapper, was in for those. A pass downfield, intercepted. Sam Shea took the deflection. The Bengals get the ball right back.
Well, this is something the Bengal defense has not been doing, really, even today. Not making those big plays. This time, Shannon Sharp wide open, but John Elway gets the ball a little high and behind. Watch, tipped, and Sam Shea one-arms it with the right one and catches it for the big interception.
Second interception of the season for Sam Shea.
John Elway has let the football get away from him about 3 or 4 times today. Twice for touchdown throws, and that time to Shannon Sharp on the outside for a big gain. Nobody really covered him, but the ball gets away.
Here's Dillon on the pitch, right side, and gets nothing. Steve Atwater coming up from the safety position to make the hit.
How'd you know it was Steve Atwater? I couldn't even see who it was. Number 27 just comes from nowhere. Here he is, just kind of moving, and he just takes a direct line, gets away from that lead blocker, and makes the tackle in the backfield. Steve Atwater been playing for so long, so many years, still one of the best, biggest hitters in the secondary in the National Football League.
7-time Pro Bowler in his 10th year out of Arkansas. Loss of a yard on the play, 2nd and 11. Dillon can try the left side, finds some running room, and picks up a few, and there's, let's see, is it a fumble? Officials appear to agree that he was down.
I did not hear a whistle from up here.
Ruled down by contact before the ball came loose.
Boy, could you hear all that arguing going on in the field? And I mean, that's what happens. As soon as that ball, you think there's any way there's a fumble, start yelling for your team. That ball definitely comes out before he hits the ground. Good hustle by Bill Romanowski, hitting him from behind. Corey Dillon, you got to know. Pursuit comes from behind, can cause fumbles.
So O'Donnell looks at 3rd and 8. 5 wide receivers once again. Quick pass over the middle. It's complete, but short of a first down to Tony McGee. He's about 2 yards shy of a first down at midfield.
Well, both these teams have figured it out. Bruce Coughlon's going to go for it on 4th down, but 5 wide receivers, you can't block them off. You blitz the guy. Denver blitz made him throw the ball quick.
Phil, this is a heck of a call by Bruce Coughlon here on 4th down at midfield.
Well, it's a little risky, I think, Greg. You're right, the way things are going, but Bruce Coughlon wants to get the momentum back on his team's side. He thinks he needs points, so he's willing to take a chance at midfield.
2 tight ends, Tony McGee and Marco Battaglia. 4th and 1. Dillon, left side. First down. Out of bounds, across midfield to about the 47-yard line.
Boy, I tell you what, I thought a risky call by Bruce Coughlon, showing courage, going for it, but then to go outside, Brian Mills, number 44, good job getting up, get John Mobley out of the way, and lets Corey Dillon pick up the first down.
Dillon now 31 carries for 104 yards today. And Coughlon showing great faith in that running game. First down from the 47. O'Donnell to the far side. His pass is complete to Battaglia. Battaglia is bumped out of bounds by several of the Broncos, Mobley and Atwater. And we have run out of time here in the 3rd quarter. That's the end of the 3rd quarter with the score. 13-12, Denver, and we'll come back after this message. And a word from your local station. You're watching the NFL on CBS. And having another of his conversations with the officials while we were away as we get ready to start the 4th quarter.
Still yelling about that fumble that happened a few plays ago.
2nd and 7. Dillon spins to about the 43, 42-yard line. In the grasp of Keith Traylor.
You know, we're seeing the Denver Bronco defense in some situations, of course, they have not been in the whole season. in a close game in the fourth quarter, and where they're on the field more than they used to, too. They're used to their offense scoring points, keeping them in good situation. Now they got to play it straight up, 13-12.
Cincinnati has had the ball 6 minutes more than Denver had. 3rd and 5, over the middle, complete. 25, inside the 25-yard line is Carl Pickens.
Boy, another good play by the Bengals. Play action play to the right. Carl Pickens makes a nice little move in the backside. Waits. Comes to the line of sight for Neil O'Donnell. Look at this. Nobody between Carl Pickens and Neil O'Donnell. Then picking up those extra yards after he catches the football.
And now there is a timeout on the field. The Bronco is still down.
Well, Carl Pickens very excited, and
it looks like it might be Darian Gordon. You know, as we talked with Neil O'Donnell yesterday, there's no question Pickens is his favorite receiver. He just kept saying 81, 81, 81.
Well, I think that's what everybody is saying, you know, all across the league. It's 81. You got to cover him. He's the big key to this offense for the Bengals. When they throw it, they like to get the ball to him.
How's this for a key, Bill? Last week, the Bengals were 0 for 10 in third down situations. Today, they are 9 of 15.
I think they spent quite a bit of time on it in practice this week, wouldn't you think so? But again, Greg, it's amazing what happens. Why are they doing so well on third down? Tell me. Because they're keeping the situations good in their favor. They're running the ball, doing a good job. It's not as hard to pick up those third downs.
I thought it was a rhetorical question. No. O'Donnell to throw. A bullet complete to Tony McGee, who has been big on the receiving end for O'Donnell today.
Tony McGee was kind of like the lost guy in this passing offense from the tight end position. Play action fake. Look at that time. Look at the space between Neil O'Donnell and the defensive line. That enables him to throw the ball low to the outside where only his guy can make the catch.
Red zone time again for the Bengals. 2nd and 1 from the 13. Dillon. And he may not get there on this one. Neil Smith there to meet it.
You know, it's good to be the time of the game where you actually, one of the first things you want to do is make sure you don't let go of the football now, because a field goal, yes, you want to score a touchdown, but now it's just giving yourself those opportunities to get back ahead, put the pressure on the other team's offense.
Big measurement here. And they are that short of a first down. And you wonder, Phil, with the red zone disappointments that the Bengals have had, they've still managed to hang in here today. Can they take another?
Well, 5 times they've been down there, 1 touchdown, 2 field goals.
A fumble, which cost them some points on the board.
You know, the thing I'm looking at, Bruce Coslett, some of the chances he's taken today, I mean, this is one of those scenarios where you fake the running play and you try to score a touchdown right down.
O'Donnell with a first down.
Or you really catch the defense by surprise, you have Neil O'Donnell running. That was a good job. It looks pretty simple at home, but quarterback sneaks are not that easy to do. But Neil O'Donnell kind of went on a quick count before the defense could really dig in there and make the play.
What a great job the Bengals have done on third down compared to a week ago. 1st and 10 from the 11. O'Donnell going to throw. Has time. End zone. Touchdown! What a catch by James Hunden. The 2-point conversion. Hunden is still down.
Well, that's a play. Watch James Hunden coming across the back of the end zone. Neil O'Donnell looks at him a long time. That enables Darian Gordon to see that, come back into the play and make the big hit. But what a catch on the fingertips, knowing you're going to take that big hit in the end zone.
Took the hit from Darian Gordon. Hunden is up with the football. The second-year man out of Portland State records his first touchdown of the year. So the score is now 18-13. On two-point conversions this season, the Bengals are 0 for 2. And both have been passing attempts. They'll throw for this one. Quick pass, and this one doesn't work. Steve Atwater with a hand on the ball to break it up. But on an 11-yard touchdown pass, O'Donnell to Hunden, the Bengals take the lead, 18-13. Still plenty of time to be played here in the fourth quarter on the Denver sideline. A disbelieving John Elway. Whatever the Bengals have done poorly to this point this season, they have done well here this afternoon. Neil O'Donnell and the Bengals leading it, 18-13. From the goal line. 25, 30, out to the 32-yard line. And good field position for the Denver Broncos. On the sidelines, Neil O'Donnell says, circle the wagons, boys. 11:50 to play in regulation. 11:50 to play in the fourth quarter. The Cincinnati offense has gotten the job done. They've gotten the lead back, and now the Bengals turn to their defense to try and stop John Elway and the Broncos. Terrell Davis shakes a tackler in the backfield and is pushed out of bounds. Penalty marker flies in the secondary. This will be against the Broncos.
What happens? The team.
Illegal block in the back, above the waist, number 80, offense.
That's Rod Smith, guilty of the infraction.
You know what happens, though, I'm saying, is the team, Rod Smith, number 80, all the way to the top. Watch this block on Ashley Ambrose. Gets him from behind, pushes him. Maybe just enough to stop Ashley Ambrose from making the tackle. Good call by the official.
1st and 20. Elway with time. Far side has his man, and that's Rod Smith out of bounds and about the 38-yard line. To New York, Jim Nantz for an NFL Today report.
All right, Greg and Phil, you've seen it, you believe it. Here comes Doug Flutie down 10. Buffalo finds the end zone. Flutie to Mold, the third touchdown pass of the day by Doug. 3-point game with 11 and a half to go. Back to Greg and Phil.
Well, we've seen Doug Flutie up close. I'm a believer.
I think we saw an exact play a few weeks ago against Jacksonville.
2nd and 3 for Denver. Davis picks the right side for a couple, and he's close to a Denver first down.
You know, Greg, a few plays ago when the holding penalty was going about, what I was going to say is when you see a lot of times penalty flag or a direct result against the one team that's being more aggressive makes the other team commit fouls. That's what we've seen a few times today. The Broncos committing those fouls because the Bengals are just being so aggressive.
Bengals have done a few things they just haven't been doing. They intercepted a pass today, which is their first in more than 4 games. And Denver is that short of a first down.
When you see their defense being aggressive, it's fast, all those things. You watch them run it. You see Neil O'Donnell throw it. You go, how can this team be 2-5? And I guess now I'm understanding why everybody's so upset and disappointed in the football team around here. They expected so much more when the season started.
Terrell Davis, 2 yards shy of 100 on the day. You see the Broncos, how they've performed today on 3rd down. It's 3rd and 1. 100-yard mark and a lot more over the 45 and another penalty marker. 15-yard pickup. Takeo Spikes with the tackle.
Terrell Davis pointing to his face mask.
The Broncos say this is going to be against the Bengals. But it's taken an awfully long time to figure out just what it is.
Probably what they're trying to decide, 5 or 15. It's a personal foul. That means you bring him down with your hand on the face mask. You don't let go.
Bob McElwee.
We have unnecessary roughness. Defense. That penalty is declined. We have a 15-yard face mask foul. That penny is accepted. 15 yards.
Let's see if it's Takeo Spikes on the tackle. Yeah. It's a grab.
Well, it's a touch, but he's there. He takes it immediately off. Should have been a 5-yard penalty. And you can hear the fans booing, of course, because they saw it on replay. You pack the defense in, try to stop the Broncos, 3rd and 1. Once Terrell Davis breaks the line of scrimmage, he's going to get a big run.
First down from the 27. Davis goes to work on adding to 115 yards rushing on the day.
Well, you score a touchdown, you take the lead against an unbeaten team, defending Super Bowl champions. You go to the sidelines in offense, you feel pretty good. You look up, you're on your own 20.
That's close, Biggin. That's close.
Put another Denver record on Terrell Davis' side of the ledger. 2nd and 6. And this is the time of day when Terrell Davis begins to wear a defense down. Davis again. Dips inside the 15. 7 more for Davis.
The Broncos talk about some of their running plays, what they're designed, they call them running downhill. Watch Terrell Davis. He takes it, watch this little cut, there it is. Now that's running downhill. He gets lower, faster, really hard to tackle in those type of situations.
First down at the 15. Davis again. To the 10. And another 5 yards added on to Davis's total for the day.
Something we haven't seen all day long. The Denver Broncos lining up and just trying to be bullies. Just trying to beat up the defense. This drive, the game is getting to where you think it could be on the line. They're coming through by being more physical than the Bengals defense, and that's why they're running the ball so well.
7th play of this drive. Davis. Inside the 5 to the 4. Bernard Wilson with the tackle.
You know, Greg, we hear so often from these Bronco players, they talk about, I always ask, how can you be so physical in the football game when during the week, you're out there practicing in your pajamas? You know, you got, oh, okay, on Wednesdays you put a helmet on, Thursdays maybe, and then Friday it's hat day. All they wear is a hat, any hat you want. But they can do that. They come out, that's why on Sundays late in the game, they're so fresh. They can take it to the defense on both sides of the ball, and it works for them.
I am hard-pressed to point out here they wear a little more than just a hat on Friday. As we welcome you back to Cincinnati, we'd be less than honest if we said that this is what we expected out of this game today. It's been a terrific performance out of the Cincinnati Bengals.
Well, it has, and we expected the Denver Broncos to come out here, just run the football and overpower the Cincinnati Bengals defense.
First and goal from the 4.
But until this drive, they've been successful stopping this Bronco running game. Terrell Davis, under that play, had ran 6 straight times had to take himself out of the game for one play.
Derek Lavelle carried on that one, and Davis is now back. Davis, 138 rushing yards today. He is averaging 104.5, and that's number 1 in NFL history. He just edges past Jim Brown. Second and goal. Excellent red zone offense owned by the Denver Broncos. Here is Davis. Touchdown. 17 red zone opportunities, 14 touchdowns.
And now the Broncos, of course, will go for 2. The score is 19-18. You go for 2 to put yourself up 3 points if you make it. So field goal can only tie you. Watch the replay here. Watch how the Broncos offensive line pushes the defensive line into the end zone. Terrell Davis has crossed the goal line before he has contact.
This is the first time this season the Broncos have gone for a 2-point conversion. Davis, did he get there? He did not.
He was in the end zone.
Well, Phil, unless you're wearing a black and white striped shirt.
My opinion doesn't count. You're right, Greg. But from here, he was in the end zone easily.
Michael Bankston leading the charge for the Bengals. It's a 1-point game. 7:05 to play. We'll be back.
Innovators of run flat technology.
The Broncos went 68 yards in 9 plays in just under 5 minutes to grab a 19-18 lead. 7:05 to play. And the Bengals get the football back right now. Tremaine Mack at the 5. The 20. Spinning out to about the 29-yard line. Now, Terrell Davis was looking for the 2-point conversion. Phil Simms says he was in the end zone. Let's take a look.
Well, there's one reason why I'm not wearing a striped shirt today, because my judgment stinks. I mean, Terrell Davis gets near the goal line. It looks like he might back in, but good hustle, extra effort by the Bengals defense keeps him from getting that last extra yard, and Michael Bankston, number 90, defensive lineman, he led that charge.
He led me to believe that you had terrific eyes.
Well, you know, I threw a few interceptions as a quarterback, too, so I'm wrong every once in a while.
First and 10 from the 29. O'Donnell throws far side, complete to Pickens. Pickens is out of bounds. By the way, I know I speak for our entire crew. We add our congratulations to you for your nomination for the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you. Great honor, and I'm happy about it.
We are out there, as we speak, buying votes.
It's going to cost a lot of money. It's about time you said it. I've been telling you for 4 quarters. Bring it up. Talk about me. Enough about you.
Second and 7 from the 32. On the ground with Dillon. Penalty marker is down. Dillon comes up short of the 35, and let's check the marker. This is going to be against the Bengals. Bruce Coslet didn't need that.
Well, what it does, it just puts you in a situation, very obvious.
Illegal formation, number 71, not up on the line of scrimmage.
71 is the right tackle, Willie Anderson.
Well, this exact...
Penalty is declined. Third down.
So the Bengals see the Broncos decline the penalty, and it'll be 3rd and 7. Willie
Anderson had that same penalty called against him last week against the Oakland Raiders, so you got to be careful. The offensive tackle's helmet must break the waistline of the center. Otherwise, you're deemed not to be on the line of scrimmage.
O'Donnell has come up big on 3rd down many times today. 5 wide receivers. Over the middle, incomplete. It is intended for Willie Jackson.
You know, a very good judgment by Neil O'Donnell. He picks out the receiver that comes open. But what happens to a quarterback in situations like that sometimes? Watch him. Neil O'Donnell's looking. He's coming across. You get a little anxious, and then you throw the football too hard. That time he threw it so hard the receiver couldn't make the adjustment.
Darian Gordon deep. And a terrific kick by Lee Johnson. And this is out of bounds near the 20-yard line, but there's a penalty marker down and a couple of players tangled up. And it's going to be a holding call against the Bengals. Adrian Ross and Dwayne Carswell were the two players that were tied up with each other.
That ball.
Holding. Number 88. Offense. 10-yard penalty. Repeat the down, 4th down.
88 is Steve Bush. And the Broncos will be glad to have Lee Johnson kick that one over again.
Bruce Costa, his exact words to the official were, call it both ways. So, slippery too, you know.
Movement on the offensive line again.
Encroachment. Number 95. Defense. 5 yards, 4th down.
Marvin Washington, number 95, the guilty party. It is amazing to me when the whistle blows on the line how much finger pointing there is both ways.
It is great.
You probably never tried to influence a good.
Yes, I did, many times. I love to argue.
Johnson's kick is blocked. Comes down at about the 25-yard line and is run out of bounds, and the Broncos get a huge break. Vaughn Hebron looked to be the man who got in on the punter.
Well, 3 times they lined up in punt formation, the Cincinnati Bengals, and 3 different times the Denver Broncos gave them a different look. They kept moving around. The Bengals were having trouble picking out who's going to block who, and this time Vaughn Hebron comes in immediately and gets his hands up and makes the block. Boy, what good technique, too. Reached out, went where the ball is going to be, didn't go straight towards the punter. Big turnover by the Bengals.
1st and 10 from the 25-yard line. Back to the ground, Terrell Davis left side, and he is brought down at about the 25 by Timo von Oelhoffen. Boy, what a turnaround. Lee Johnson's first punt out of bounds at about the 20-yard line, but a penalty brought it back.
Al Roberts, the special teams coach, he's talking with Bruce Coslett. They're trying to talk about, I'm sure, what went wrong and why it was blocked.
Second and 10 now from the 25-yard line. Elway to throw. On the run, into the end zone, touchdown! Ed McCaffrey.
Well, the Broncos come with the formation. They get Ed McCaffrey on Sam Shade, who's the safety, doesn't have the speed to run with the wide receiver. John Elway does a good job buying the extra time, and Ed McCaffrey just outruns the coverage.
Boy, how a penalty here and there can change the momentum in a football game. Elam for the extra point, and it's perfect. 5:04 to play now in regulation, and the Broncos extend their lead to 26-18.
John Elway has Ed McCaffrey open for 3 touchdowns today. He finally connects on one. He bought himself that extra time by moving out of the pocket. Watch Ed McCaffrey. Goes in motion, goes up the field. They turn him over to the safety, and now he just outruns Sam Shade across the end zone. and makes the catch. And Elway always has been an excellent thrower on the run.
McCaffrey continues to enjoy an excellent season on the receiving end of a 25-yard touchdown pass. You see what he's done here today. Let's go back to the block punt. Big play for the Broncos special team.
Number 22, Von Hebron, here he is. Watch him coming up the field. He just goes underneath the Bengals. Look, two guys blocking Darius Johnson. Nobody picked up Von Hebron. Good job, and that is exciting. You can work on that play all year and maybe never come up with a block. When you get it done, special teams, it's something to be proud of.
Tremaine Mack deep for Elam Skip. Mack at the 7. The 30. Across the 35 to about the 36 or 37-yard line. While we have a moment, let's remind you, Tuesday on CBS, traveling at 30,000 feet at almost the speed of sound, a pilot blacks out. Now, Lieutenant Commander Rabb must attempt an impossible mid-air rescue. All new Jag, Tuesday on CBS. I dressed up like that for Halloween.
Did you really?
No.
If you did, you wouldn't have got any candy. John Elway coming around a little, 13 to 24. 2 TDs. Neil O'Donnell, good solid day.
First down from the 36-yard line. O'Donnell with time, throws over the middle, and it's complete. Terrific reception by Carl Pickens. Nope. Now the officials say the ball hit the ground. Carl made it look good.
Well, I was going to say, that is facing, that would be forcing the ball into the tightest situation. Watch Neil O'Donnell. Watch this. He's going to back up to his left a little. Look, now he can see down the middle of the field and really throws a strike in there. John Mobley almost comes up with the interception.
And Pickens came close to coming up with the reception. 2nd and 10. Pass over the middle, incomplete. Battaglia, the tight end.
Now, if you're the Bengals, what you've got to do, 3rd down and 10, you've got to call a play that gives yourself a chance to go down the field with the football. In other words, don't call a play if the Broncos blitz that you got to throw one of those 2-yarders. You got to be careful about your protection. Give your quarterback and receivers a chance to go down the field and make the completion.
3rd and 10, and behind with time running down, they've lost the luxury of running the football. O'Donnell out of the shotgun. Eludes a rush, throws complete to Willie Jackson. And Jackson may have enough for the first down.
And Greg, they did exactly that. They kept both backs in the backfield to prevent the blitz from hurting them. They don't blitz, and Neil O'Donnell goes down the field and picks up the first down.
And a Bengal is down on the ground.
I'm not sure who it is.
That's Ken Blackman, the right guard.
He did get up, and then he fell back down. Neil O'Donnell goes back to help him. Watch Ken get up. Oh.
Looks like he couldn't put weight on that right foot.
I was going to say,
the left.
I thought maybe the left. I thought it was his knee, and before I start guessing, let's make sure of it.
That is a big man, 6'6", 320. 3rd-round draft pick back in '96.
That was a good job by the Bengals, though, Greg. Just talking about that last play. Again, you know, you see the situation, and the last thing you want to do is let the Denver Broncos dictate what you have to do. So they got in a formation, called a play, and they executed it, pick up a big first down, and hey, 26-18, touchdown and 2 points. They know they can tie the game.
How's this for similarity? Last year, Cincinnati trailed these Broncos by 1 point with just over 11 minutes in the fourth quarter and ended up losing by a bunch. This season, they trailed by 1 with just over 7 minutes to be played here in the fourth quarter. I want to remind you once again tonight here on CBS, how is it possible for dogs and cats, elephants and donkeys, and the entire crew of the Starship Enterprise who have been registered to vote in certain states? 60 Minutes reports. Then it's Touched by an Angel, followed by the CBS Sunday movie Logan's War, Bound by Honor, starring Chuck Norris in an action-packed drama about a young man's quest for justice against the men who murdered his family. That all comes up tonight here on CBS. Dogs and cats.
Wow, I got a smart cat, but I don't think he can vote.
First and 10. Blackman helped off the field. The ball at the 47-yard line. 4-10, and the clock was running. Dillon tripped as he approached the line of scrimmage. May have gotten a yard before Glenn Cadrez made the stop.
When you call plays, Bruce Coslet, who calls the plays, along with Kenny Anderson on the Bengals sideline, you're calling them now, and you're looking at everything. Well, let's look at it in a 4-down situation, call plays accordingly, and it really makes it a lot easier on a coach when you know that is the situation.
Cincinnati has all 3 of their timeouts. Good time, throws incomplete. And a nice job by John Mobley, breaking up the pass intended for Corey Dillon.
Well, Mike Shanahan told us John Mobley is having a terrific year, just making plays, running all over the field. And the one thing we said earlier, he does have good speed. Look, Neil O'Donnell, did you see that? He turned the ball from one side, flipped it around to the other, then throws the football down the field and must have had some sweat, or it was wet from the center somehow. He didn't like it, so he flipped it over.
3rd and 9, big play for the offense. Steps up, throws, complete. That'll be close to a first down. Carl Pickens. And a penalty marker is down. Correction, make it Damon Gibson with the reception.
Personal foul, 15-yard face mask, 39 defense, 15 yards, automatic first down.
Ray Crockett on the coverage on the outside. Look at the protection. Neil O'Donnell gets a step up, nobody in his way, and really throws it with everything he has outside. And Ray Crockett puts the hand to the face, didn't let go soon enough. Damon Gibson, that's a 15-yard penalty.
First down for the Bengals at the Denver 26. We're looking at the Bengals needing a touchdown and a 2-point conversion to tie. O'Donnell going to go for the end zone. Pickens batted it away and avoided an interception by number 21, Darian Gordon.
Well, that's having a lot of faith in your wide receiver. Neil O'Donnell drops back. Look out here. Darian Gordon, he is backpedaling. Nobody's open deep. Neil O'Donnell just throws it up, and he expects Carl Pickens, a big, tall wide receiver, to make the catch. Or, like this, what he does, that's why you can throw it up. He breaks it up.
Now, we were talking to Carl Pickens and Neil O'Donnell about the kind of passes that they like to throw.
That's one of them. They can throw it high and behind the receiver. At that time, they couldn't. Too good a coverage.
2nd and 10. O'Donnell goes far side, complete to Pickens inside the 5. 23-yard first and goal for Cincinnati.
You know, they keep talking about, Bruce Coslet says, Neil O'Donnell's really learning the offense more and more as we go along. This is a good example. Look at him. Looks to the right, no. Immediately wheels to the left, and then throws it over to the defender into a spot. Carl Pickens makes a nice catch on the sideline and gets his feet down. Boy, that is a really good job of a quarterback knowing where his players are and finding that second, third receiver.
Bengals first and goal from the 2. Quick pass, corner of the end zone. The flag is thrown.
Pickens on the goal line. Ray Crockett, he saw the quick drop of the quarterback. He took a chance. He gambled. That's the time to do it in situations like that. It really doesn't hurt your team that much.
9 times the Broncos have been penalized today for 106 yards. That's the most penalty yards against the Broncos this season. First and goal from the 1.
Watch Marco Battaglia, number 89. Good fake. He is covered. Bill Romanowski is all over him. No, I'm sorry, it's Glenn Contreras, number 59. What a catch by Battaglia for the touchdown.
And now the job is not complete for the Bengals. They need a 2-point conversion. 0 for 1 today, 0 for 3 this season. O'Donnell lobs it to the corner again. Pickens! Just a few moments ago, that's the way O'Donnell likes to throw the ball to Carl Pickens.
First off, watch the catch to Marco Battaglia. Throw it over the top. Here's the touchdown. Let the receiver go up and make the play. One hand. 2-point conversion. This time use the wide receiver. Throw it up. Carl Pickens using his body against Ray Crockett, comes down with the catch. Look at that, Ray Crockett there, but the positioning of Carl Pickens prevents Ray Crockett from making the play.
Carl Pickens with 4 inches on Ray Crockett. He's at 6'2", Crockett at 5'10".
We talked to Ray Crockett yesterday. What did he tell us? I don't want to make contact with Carl Pickens, because when you do, that's when he's at his best. He maneuvers his body. It's hard to defend the pass. Exactly what he didn't want to do that happened here in the end zone.
You know, Brent Jones brought up, and they were very valid stats on the pregame show, that here is a Denver team that accumulates 400 yards a game, a Bengals team that gives up 400 yards a game. Sure, you had every right to expect a blowout. Nobody told Cincinnati about it. 26-26, 2:54 to play in regulation. From the 8. The 30. Cuts inside. 40. Dragged down at about the 47-yard line. Terrific return by Vaughn Hebron.
Vaughn Hebron coming through big on special teams today. He blocked the punt to set up the go-ahead touchdown. And look at this return. Change of direction, break a tackle. Using his speed, cutting back again, and putting the Denver offense in good position. Finally tackled by Thomas Randolph.
John Elway now with the ball at the 47-yard line. You see the game-winning drives that he's engineered. Denver with 2 timeouts remaining. Play action. Plenty of time. Down the middle. Has his man. That's McCaffrey. Ed McCaffrey has sliced and diced the Bengals secondary today.
You know, when these things happen, it just comes. Watch. Shannon Sharp is going to go down and take the safety out, and then watch Ed McCaffrey come down behind it. The defense cannot cover what the Broncos are doing. Good design and terrific execution.
Well, and you sure can't cover that when you give John Elway that kind of time to throw the football. 2-minute warning. Denver 26, the Bengals 26. When we come back, first down Denver at the Bengals 23-yard line. Jason Elam is quite an insurance policy to have on your sideline. Kicked a 63-yard field goal 1 week ago. They're in field goal range now for him.
Well, as soon as you cross midfield, you go, okay, Jason, get loose. So, I mean, what a terrific leg. Hey, I know he kicks in the high altitude of Denver, but here it's on AstroTurf, so that makes it easy for him, too.
1st and 10 for Denver at the Cincinnati 23. Davis. Hit hard at about the 20. And now timeout is called by the Bengals, as Bruce Coslett looks to preserve some time on the clock.
See, this is why it's so important in the second half of games. Don't use your timeouts needlessly. So the Bengals now have 3. They could stop this clock 3 straight times to save themselves a lot of time to score in case the Broncos score or kick the field goal.
You know, we talked about it in the commercial. We might as well say it on the air. You really have to hand it to the Cincinnati Bengals. However, this game comes out for the way they came out and played football today.
Well, I think what they're doing today, they're finding out a lot of things about themselves. The young guys are getting more experience. They're playing better, but they just lined up. And like Bruce Coslett said, let's just hit them into space. They got tougher physically, and it's helped the football team on both sides of the ball.
2nd and 7. Elway throws over the middle, complete. McCaffrey again. And that's enough for a first down.
We saw this exact same play early in the game with the exact same results. Watch Eddie McCaffrey, number 87, going all the way across the field. Now watch the catch. Back behind him, and John Elway, he reared back and threw everything he had in that pass. Sure-handed receiver Ed McCaffrey makes the catch. And just think, he was my teammate in New York, and we cut him. And he has turned out to be a top-notch NFL wide receiver. I didn't cut him.
1st and goal from the 6. Terrell Davis. A yard, maybe 2, as he nudges the football across the 5. And the clock stops now at 1:01 as the Bengals use their second timeout.
What this did for the Denver Broncos, picking up that first down, that almost wiped out the clock entirely for the Cincinnati Bengals offense in case they, once this drive ends, the Denver Broncos offense.
You know, everyone, to a man, on the Bengals were interested in seeing just how this team would react to facing the Denver Broncos today. They're coming into a tough part of their schedule. They have Jacksonville next week, Minnesota the week after. The Vikings on the short end of the score to the Tampa Bay Bucks today.
You know what this game does for a team like the Bengals, Greg? It shows the players and the coaches how much energy, how much passion, emotion, all those things you have to put into a football game just to give yourself a chance to win. It doesn't guarantee anything. You got to have all those things plus some execution, and don't make too many mistakes.
Terrell Davis today, 26 carries, 144 yards. 2nd and goal from the 5. Davis, left side. Did he get in? Touchdown! Make it 149 yards today. And 1,150 on the season.
That might have been the best thing that happened to the Bengals. Let him score there. Now it gives you 50-some seconds. When you get the ball back, plus you save your last time out.
Jason Elam is perfect, as he has been all season long. 58 seconds to play. The Broncos lead at 33-26. Let's go back to the touchdown.
Well, Terrell Davis, such a good, hard inside runner. Look at that. It's not inside, and then immediately he has the speed to go out in the same motion and pick up the touchdown. Ed McCaffrey, he does it receiving, he fakes the pass, and now he sees Terrell coming, and look at this. Gets in the way of the corner. Ashley Ambrose allows Terrell Davis to go in the corner for the score. You know, that's the thing. Ed McCaffrey, Mike Shanahan told us last year, he thinks he might be the best blocking wide receiver in the National Football League. We've seen him catch it We know he's terrific there, but he can also do the blocking when he needs to.
Those of you just joining us here at Synergy Field in Cincinnati, we welcome you. 58 seconds remaining in regulation. The Denver Broncos have just gotten a 5-yard touchdown run from Terrell Davis to pull ahead of a stubborn Cincinnati team 33-26. The Bengals will take the kickoff. They have 2 timeouts remaining. Tremaine Mack from the 7. 20 to the outside. Midfield. 40, inside the 35 to the 32-yard line.
Boy, you talking about coming up to play when you need it most. Tremaine Mack sees the hole to his right and just uses his speed and runs. The Denver Broncos, if they have one weakness on this football team, it's the special teams. They do give up some long returns. The Bengals needed it. 48 seconds and 1 timeout left.
1 timeout remaining. 61-yard return by Tremaine Mack. First down for Neil O'Donnell and the Bengals at the Denver 32. O'Donnell goes down at the 41-yard line. Alfred Williams, the ex-Bengal, all over him.
The one thing, once a quarterback is sacked, the clock does stop. Look at, there he is, Alfred Williams coming around. Makes the sack on Neil O'Donnell, and when you get in situations like this, you got to hope your premier players, they step it up and make the plays. Alfred Williams, that's what he is as a pass rusher for the Broncos.
Each team is now down to 1 timeout, 44 seconds remaining. It has been another terrific day for Terrell Davis, who has scored 2 touchdowns and rushed for 149 yards. Ed McCaffrey has a career-high 133 yards receiving on 7 receptions today.
And that's the one thing we've seen today. Ed McCaffrey, he was basically open all day long. John Elway just unable to get the football to him.
On the Cincinnati side of the ball, Neil O'Donnell, 256 yards and 3 touchdowns. 2nd and 18. For the sideline, gets out of bounds at about the 40-yard line. Romanowski chased him out.
Boy, good job by Neil O'Donnell, seeing the receiver, getting rid of it, saving the sack, saving time. Milne, catch it, get out of bounds. You still got 2 downs. You got to pick up 20 yards.
Bengals have performed well on 3rd down today. Tony McGee, the tight end, has been a big play receiver for the Bengals today. Carl Pickens has been all season long. O'Donnell down the middle of the field, overthrows his intended receiver, Willie Jackson.
That's it. Bruce Cosler reminding Neil O'Donnell it's 4th down. I mean, sometimes as a quarterback, you do lose track of the downs, especially in situations like this. So what he's basically saying, remember, 4th down, you've got to throw it down the field. You've got to take a chance. Give us the chance to pick up the 1st down.
Bengals down to their last shot. They need to get to the 22. O'Donnell throws down the sideline. Pickens sees it go out of bounds. And the ball will go over on down, and the Broncos with a chance to run out the clock. This game was tied at 26-26 with just under a minute remaining when Terrell Davis scored his 2nd touchdown of the day.
Again, Terrell Davis inside, nothing. Uses his speed, gets outside for the touchdown to put his team ahead.
Ed McCaffrey with a great day receiving regular and postseason. This will be the 13th consecutive victory for the Denver Broncos.
Well, Greg, you talked about it, and when we talked about it before the game, Terrell Davis, you don't think he's that much of a factor, but he still ends up picking up 144 yards rushing the football.
8-0 is the best start in franchise history for the Denver Broncos. And time will wind down on a valiant effort by the Cincinnati Bengals.
I think we talked about it, how much you learn about your team in situations like this.
For Phil Simms and Armin Katayan, I'm Greg Dumble. That's it from Cincinnati. Once again, our final score, the Broncos 33 and the Bengals 26. Stay tuned for the post-game report. We'll be sending you to Jim Nance in New York right after these messages. You're watching the NFL on